All right, ladies.
Well, welcome in everybody. And this is our first ever high functioning anxiety tell all. My name's Jenna. This is Morgan and Wendee. We're going to tell you a little bit about what actually is high functioning anxiety and who is this for. Then we'll go into some intros and then we'll get into our topic today. So, Morgan.
Yeah, so to kick us off, what is high functioning anxiety? I think it'd be nice to tease apart anxiety and then get to the high functioning. So, anxiety, if we're thinking of it like an iceberg, what most people usually see is that top of the iceberg, the obvious one, nervous anticipation for the future. And I think when we think of anxiety, it kind of stops there for most people. And then, as coaches, we know, as practitioners, we know when we work with people and we learn about this, underneath of that iceberg, we've got a lot more going on. And that can look like anything from physical tightness in your neck to strained relationship or a blocker in career success, difficulty leaving home or driving when it wasn't even a problem before. And it could even be maybe, maybe not causation, but sometimes also a result or worsening of chronic illness. So anxiety dips its fingers into so much more than we typically think about. And now, weaving in the high functioning part, I think of this a lot as almost like sneaky anxiety or even anxiety that we sometimes justify or we can't even label. So it's like a fancy way of saying maybe you're a busy professional, maybe you're an aspiring mom, and you've had to put yourself in situations where what we think of as anxiety, someone wouldn't be able to do, but because we're surviving through it, we're like, oh no, that's not anxiety. I did the thing. But meanwhile, we come out of the thing and we're like, I can't feel my toes. I've got this pain here. And we're surviving. And so many of us are surviving for so long, we don't even realize it. And so the high functioning anxiety and who this is for, it's a lot of the people that are just moving so quickly through our lives, we might not be able to catch it, name it. There's actually a stat that a lot of people, by the time they realize what's going on, even then, and that takes time, it's 2 to 3 years before you even ask for help. So, just a little intro to what high functioning anxiety is and who we're serving today. And you can see from our titles and what we do, we cover a lot of lenses. So, welcome.
Thank you for that. Oh, I just was going back to when I was a nurse, the whole time you're saying high functioning anxiety, like just keep pushing yourself until it's 3 years later and you're finally asking for help. So wonderful. Thank you. So I guess I will go ahead and kick off my intro to everybody. So, hi, everybody. My name is Jenna. My background is in nursing and I went the holistic route. So now I'm a functional nutrition coach and intuitive life coach. I practice Reiki. I bring all that together and just help people in a holistic way, um, help their body actually. I focus a lot on gut and liver health. So, how anxiety ties in with that is actually pretty big. Your state of mind, what story are you telling yourself? All of that actually plays into digestion and how well your liver is actually handling all this stress and helping your adrenal glands. And it's just a trickle down effect, and it starts with your mindset most of the time. So that's me. Wendee, do you want to pop in your intro?
Sure. I'm Wendy. I'm a neurosomatic intelligence practitioner, and basically, what I do is help people create safety in their nervous system. As Jenna and Morgan were both sharing, it's really easy just to power through anxiety. Like, as long as it doesn't knock us down too hard, we can just get up and keep going. And so, being able to help people connect with some of those feelings in their body, those felt sensations. And the amazing thing is, they don't have to tie back to figuring out, like, if there was something that they just don't want to tap into from the past, they don't have to do that. We're just always creating safety on top of safety. So I assess and reassess the nervous system every step of the way. And then they get to learn how to rewire their brain and be able to do it in a really, really gentle way so that they can have a new way of approaching things and making more peaceful choices for their life.
Oh my gosh,
Great.
girls, how am I going last? That was so beautiful. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Morgan. I'm a certified life and health coach, and right now I'm studying as an FDN practitioner. So, a big part of my story, I was never planning on becoming a coach. I was actually a teacher. I was really young and I had a lot of health stuff happen, and now I really help a lot of people believe and see in themselves that even though I'm a decade older, I'm healthier than I've ever been in my 20s. And a big part of that is talking to people about these sneaky little ways, especially introverts, empaths, HSPs, which is highly sensitive persons. And then because that's all me, entrepreneurs as well, helping them see these little sneaky, itty bitty lifestyle habitual pieces pulling apart their day. How is anxiety showing up in the foods that you're deciding to eat? And then coming into what Jenna said, like the gut is so tied. I think for all of us, we know that is a huge connection. But then also, how are you waking up in the morning? How? These little lifestyle things that ripple and have a huge effect into everything we do and everything we carry throughout the day. So that's a big part of what I do. And then I love to support also with finding natural therapies for people, connecting them, matching them to the right ones, and then also facilitating things like breath work.
Wonderful. So I was just writing in the chat, if anybody who's here live, if you end up having questions, go ahead and you can pop them in the chat, but we'll have time for like a little kind of Q&A type thing towards the end. So just wanted to point that out. Um, so thanks, girls. I'm super excited to be here today with you guys. So we picked our topic for today. So perceived expectations in the new year. I thought a lot about that today. Um, I have quite a bit to say about it, maybe in not so many words, but does anybody want to um, kick us off for that?
I'll
You
hop
got it, Wendy. Yeah, we were thinking the same.
in. Well, something that I was thinking about going into the new year is everybody starts making a New Year's resolution. And it's like whatever was left over from last year, I have to scoop it over to this year and I have to be twice as good so I can get everything done. And along with that comes the fear of why we didn't get it done in the first time. A lot of that, there's some self beat up, some shame. And so, but we feel like, oh my gosh, we're going to this new year. It's a new start, and it can be. But you can have a restart at any point in the year. But the most important thing is to support your nervous system because your nervous system is there to support you and to give you different warnings. And so if you notice you're in a situation, you're trying to accomplish something and you're having feelings come up, one, it could be, reasonable feelings and you go, oh my gosh, yeah, I need to leave this situation. But the other scenario is that it could just be some old anxiety that you're feeling tied to a previous choice. Your body and nervous system don't know the difference between the current time and you experiencing that in the past. So if you just all of a sudden add a bunch of stuff on a list, your nervous system is going, oh my gosh, not only am I combating the things on this list, but I'm also confronting all of my fears and it's sending you into a lot of threat responses. And then when we don't get it and we look at our list and we think, oh, what's wrong with me? How come I can't do this? That's really unfair. And so being able to look at, if you could think by the end of the year, how could I feel? Not like the 50 things I could accomplish after beating myself up and looking like I've been hit by a truck, but like, how can I feel if I feel, oh my gosh, I feel more free and I feel more peaceful? And then you accomplish those things in that way. And that filters out to your family, whether you have a partner or kids or your community, we're all regulating to each other's nervous systems. So when you think about going into the new year, if you want to bring something new that you're trying to do or something old from the previous year, making sure that you're supporting and nourishing your nervous system so that you have it on your side and you're not trying to fight against it. Because when you coordinate with your nervous system and you listen to it, you both go a lot further. instead of it trying to tell you there's an alarm and you trying to hit snooze and saying, no, everything's fine. So that's a little bit what we're going to talk about today and the different ways that we each approach that and how to support your nervous system from those different angles. Because depending on where someone's at in their journey, one thing can be the best place to start. And nobody needs to all of a sudden jump in and do all aspects because that's going to be overwhelming too. You can't, you try to over support yourself and be like, I'm going to do every single thing at one time. That also, good things also overwhelm your nervous system. So just coming in and feeling like, okay, what is the loudest part of my nervous system? What's the loudest message it's trying to give me? And start supporting it from there. And that way you have that nice foundation of blocks where you're just feeling more and more safe. And it feels more safe to continue forward and grow.
Wendy, you're
Yeah.
like our analogy girl. You're so good. I love because they're so relatable. Like the alarm system, I think people can relate so much to that and all the things that maybe we were taught or grew up with to dull it instead of letting it sound. And then when we're in that safe place and our nervous system has the capacity to handle it, like you said, then we have our order of operations and we can gently work down. And I think that's why you, Jenna, and I come together so well because we all recognize the importance of of operations and then also the gentle flow that really has to come with handling and holding someone's nervous system. And that can look like so many different, excuse me, so many different things.
I think it's important to share too is that the three of us not only support our own clients, but we often come in together and say, hey, something's come up, oh my gosh. And then the other two can jump in and say, hey, this is how you can support yourself. I mean, full disclosure, I'm like, as we started, my old feelings of like, oh my God, I have to say the perfect thing. What am I going to do? And so I'm like supporting myself with tools underneath my desk that you can't see. So, like it's okay to support yourself and like let go of showing up perfect. And even though we're practitioners, we're constantly supporting ourselves because it's become a way of life. And it's not something like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do these things forever. It's such a relief to know I always have this to turn to and I don't have to go find it somewhere or be alone and try to solve it by myself. So you have us here showing different examples of how you can support yourself and be really gentle on yourself. And the full disclosure that we're all still in this practice.
I love that you said it's become like a way of life, and it definitely has, because I know I have been in that burnt out state, and it was very scary. It's actually extremely scary. It felt like my body was shutting down and I had no control over it. It's that lack of control feeling, I think. So, it's taken a while. It's definitely not something you can just change overnight. Um, and that's with, like you said before about resets, and like you can reset at any time. Who cares if it's, 2025 turned to 2026? Like that's just a measurement of time so that we, know when things happen in real life. But our body doesn't really recognize time. It's whenever you feel like you need to reset, it's the divine timing aspect, I guess. So
Yeah.
whenever it's right for you. Um, and as far as like what's coming up for me right now is, yeah, you can make changes, but just make one change at a time. Be consistent with it. Clinical research has shown that in order to rewire and change those neural pathways in your brain, you need to do a habit consistently for a month. I think technically it's 27 days, but it's a month. So pick one. Don't overwhelm yourself because you're going to go back to what your brain recognizes as normal, but it's not maybe the best thing for you because you're having side effects. So yeah, just fighting that neural pathway and creating a new one. It's going to be difficult in the beginning because your body is like, no, this isn't what we do. We do this way. So changing it. And I always like to tell my clients, if you try to make a change, pair it with something you already do that's like an automatic habit. Like, um, for example, you want to, I don't know why this is coming, but you want to start flossing. Okay, well, do it when you brush your teeth. I mean, that's obviously the natural order, but you're pairing it with something you already do, and then it will become easy. That's what we want. Your nervous system wants easy, so you don't go, you're not in that constant sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight. We want to be in that parasympathetic, the rest and digest, because we want what we've consumed every day, the whole day, to be digested. We don't want it just sitting there. That creates issues in our gut and for our liver. So that's one suggestion I have if you want to make changes to your lifestyle, to your diet, whatever. Just start slow, take it easy on yourself. Unless you're
I love
like
that. Oh, God.
Superwoman. I mean, I don't know anybody who has rapidly changed overnight. Like, I can't think of one person. Can you guys?
Well, and I think it's important to know that healing isn't linear. It's not just going to be like, okay, I healed and then I'm never going to worry about this thing. And I don't want to present like a doom and gloom. I mean, healing has been an incredible journey. Um, I went from a place of having extreme anxiety to not even being able to get out of bed and thinking like, what was this? Like there was no sign. And then I look back and think, oh, there might have been a few really obvious signs that I kind of blew past those flashing lights and those yellow yield signs and maybe a couple stop signs. But I was like, it's okay. I'm really strong. I can do this. And then as I'm laying in bed, I'm like, crap, how am I going to get myself out of this situation? That's how I got into doing, what I do now. I thought, I don't want women to feel like this. This is awful. So I think sometimes in that healing journey, even those small wins can feel amazing. Like as we're doing them, they may not, we just want to make sure that, that it's not going to be like, oh, tomorrow, like there's no anxiety because the anxiety is the information. Sometimes it's I'm spending time around somebody who's really triggering, and this doesn't feel safe, and I keep trying to override it, or I'm eating a food that doesn't work for me, and my body's like, I don't think we should do that. So there's different things to navigate, but for sure, like each step you're feeling, oh, okay, that feels a little more doable each time. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a journey. And when it becomes a way of life, it can be really exciting because you're noticing that forward motion. And ever so often you have a little, I thought we covered this, but it just
Mhm.
allows you to go a little bit deeper. But
Mhm.
also just being in community with people. I know Morgan and I were listening to a workshop with Bessel van der Kolk, and he was saying how it's so important to do healing in community. So many people nowadays, I feel like we're all in our little boxes. We're like, don't tell anybody. It's embarrassing. People can't know that we're not holding it all together and we're not perfect. And he was saying, no, it's so important to be in community because when you're having some guidance, you're not getting stuck in your head. And then you're also feeling that camaraderie of, oh, I'm not the only one. Like I thought I was crazy. Oh, everybody in the room has pretty much experienced this. And three people have, experienced it even more than I have. And then there's some people who, oh my gosh, I could be like that because they're so much further ahead of me. So just being able to be in community can be so supportive because it also shows you how far you've come.
Mhm.
You kind of like you have people witnessing that growth and that encouragement is so important.
Love that. It is true. Just I think that it comes back to being honest with yourself and yeah, listening to that information. Like from personal experience, I would get upset with the information and it actually created more anxiety. And it was just like this vicious cycle. Then I was upset that I was upset. And it's just like, it's just like, where does it end? And you have to like, it's just this cycle. And it's like, how do you get yourself out of that? And I think one thing for me, that helped me get out of that cycle, because I would actually tell my therapist, like, I'm just pissed off right now that I'm pissed off. Or like I don't know how else to explain it, but I was getting triggered by how I was feeling, but it's just information. And gratitude was the one thing that kind of pulled me out of myself and made myself kind of get out of my own way. So I know gratitude was a big thing, still is a big thing for me. Like whenever I feel like I'm back in that anxiety spiral, I just have to like take a deep breath, maybe a couple, because maybe I'm not breathing. That's another thing. Like we're in pain. Pain doesn't have to be just physical. It can be spiritual pain. I'm still kind of feeling that one out. But emotional pain too. Like it doesn't have to be just physical, but when you are in either type of pain, um, naturally we hold our breath. So bringing yourself back to your breath, if that's like the simplest thing you can do, that's you're doing wonders for yourself. Like we all need oxygen.
Yeah. I think you girls are bringing up so many core themes that we talk about constantly. Just letting someone in. That we talk about constantly. Um, Moving slow. I love the transparency of, because I think this is so important with high functioning anxiety. I think there's when we're high achieving women, when we feel capable and strong, and then the meaning making of what does this mean if I now am hit with this label? So there can sometimes be, whether we put it on ourselves or we grew up with it, this pride of nothing's gonna knock me down. I'm invincible till I'm not. And then you hear the word anxiety, and it's like, what the heck does it mean for me if I have that or I'm experiencing that? But I think something the girls have kind of brought up, and it's been intertwined here, is that it's, if you've ever heard of what is the girl, internal family systems, IFS,
Hmm.
right? Internal. There's so many parts to us, and anxiety is one more part. So the meaning making Jenna was just talking about, I think we can all relate to that. And I've actually heard it expressed as like double arrow syndrome of that thing happens, but then there's this second thing that comes in. And actually, when we have an emotion, even like we're anxious for something, it only really lives in the body for like 60 to 90 seconds. But then when we attach that meaning to it, it's that second arrow hit of what does this mean about me? And now we're carrying it around for days, weeks, months. For a lot of us, it is years. And we are very transparent. And that's why I love these girls so much. We are so transparent about, like, yeah, we're presenting to you, but here I am with my electrolyte water, and on the corner of my desk is my meat stick that I gobbled down when we were doing Jenna sent us Reiki last night, and we were doing a nervous system regulation before we came on with you so we could be in our best energy and presence and show you we have been in the same boat. And I think Wendee was the one that said, it's not about getting rid of anxiety. It's not, I don't have this anymore. But even having people who have been through it, and you start to see, we teach you, show you, you see for yourself those tiny steps of, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I'm not doing that anymore. When I go to the airport now, I'm not having trouble breathing, the hallmark of dysregulation that shows up maybe in numbness in our hands. It can show up as headaches, a million different things. Now, when I go to the airport, I'm writing in my gratitude journal because I'm actually able to use a tool where before I couldn't even think straight. I was just concentrating on, oh my gosh, not having a panic attack. And that really was me and has been me. So I just think these things are so important to, oh, I've heard them called as like glimmers or these little recognitions that not only are there to remind you, but just like, because this is a hallmark of anxiety as well, the overthinking and the repetition and am I getting better and having a lot of doubt? But then we learn to see these glimmers. And the more that we practice them, and the more that we work with someone who can show us our own glimmers or our own progress, because we so often don't recognize it, the more that it just kind of happens. And where we are all now, where we've been through so much and so much healing, Wendee said it wasn't linear at all. It was a little here, a little down here, way up there, way down here, and here we are. And I know Jenna has some other topics for you, but we can, I know the three of us can just rah, 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 rah.
Absolutely. Um, Anything else on perceived expectations in the new year? I know, just when I think about that, it's okay, we've already got these, I guess, goals, and that's great if you have goals, but why do we have to? There is such a pressure to, make a New Year's resolution or I think that's kind of outdated now. It seems like everybody, like on Facebook, I'll be scrolling and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do a New Year's resolution. Um, yeah, here's why I don't make New Year's resolutions. I'm seeing more of that. So is it a little bit more outdated? I mean,
I think maybe the name may be, but I think there is that part of that delineation between the beginning of this year and the end of last year, and people feeling like, oh, last year I wanted to do X, Y, Z on these certain dates, or these certain seasons, or in your business, or, whatever those things were. And it's like, well, this year, because it's a delineation of time, like it's comparable. Um, and I think sometimes people will say things like I've had clients tell me like, well, this year I just don't want to have anxiety. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's a really great
should not.
goal. Um, and it's kind of like saying, I want to walk by burning buildings, but I don't want the fire alarm to go off. Well, I think sometimes when we look at anxiety, we're looking at the wrong thing to turn off rather than being like, oh, this year I want it to be more peaceful and calm and I want to be around people who respect me. And, that would be the things that are going to lower anxiety of not putting ourselves in places that are super triggering. And I don't mean just like, oh, going to the grocery store is triggering. I mean going around that family member who's like, they're kind of really mean to me and I never feel good. And, and they're like, but maybe this time they'll be nicer. I was like, we hope. So it's like maybe we go light on ourselves during those periods of time. And in that way, yeah, the anxiety is going to lower. But just to be like, I don't want it. I want to turn it off. I want to make it go away. I think looking at what's underneath that and then what could open up throughout the year. And that would be like a new year in itself. When we start addressing why those alarms are going off, then it's like, oh, you can ask my kids, am I a more patient mom yet? Yes. When anxiety started lowering, my kids are like, Mommy yells less. Now they're a little older. But I mean, it's all those things that we hope that we're trying to take from the last year and do in the new year, but we're trying to do it like holding everything together and being like, I'm going to hold everything up and I'm still going to run into it and make it happen. Whereas, like, what, no matter what we call it, I think we're all just always trying to do better the next year. And if we want to do better or we want to feel better, we have to bring in different tools instead of trying to feel like we're comparing ourselves to everything. We're running this race, but we're not refueling. We're not using new tools. We're just running with all our crap around each year. So, I mean, I don't know that it matters what we call it. I do see kind of a shift in what people call it, but I think it's important to learn how to nurture ourselves so we're ready and can go into any new period of time in a more supported way.
On the other side of that, I also have learned, and this is the meaning making, that New Year, Mondays, I'll wait till Monday, next week, every new day, instead of it being, I'll wait till tomorrow, it's this opportunity for like a dopamine hit, a little boost of motivation when we might be needing it. So I look at a lot of these instead of that pressure that it used to feel like that you're talking about, Wendee. Now I look at it as, oh, it's a new week. Oh, it's a new day. I mean, you could do that down to the minute, down to the hour, but it's interesting when you start looking at it the lens of being controlled by something versus, oh wow, now I'm in my power and I get to decide what this means for me. And that's one that's really been a big change in my life around the new year or Monday or scheduling stuff out 2 weeks from now to say in February I'll start. It's just a totally different shift in thinking. And that's been a big healing change I've seen in myself.
sounds like control. Like you're just finally controlling that aspect and you get to decide when you actually have some anxiety and over, you know, just more choice, more control.
And yeah, and control and releasing. I think it's like both end. It's yeah, control and being able to release it and decide what takes priority and what's most important.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we get caught up in the wrong things, and even with anxiety, and that's why we're here to talk about it and provide some education because so often we know we all have specialties in whether as a mom, in our career, in what we do, and it's amazing when you start to uncover the bottom of the iceberg, and it's like, wow, all this time I thought I was working towards anxiety relief or anxiety resiliency, and I'm actually doing the behaviors that's perpetuating it, not even knowing. And instead of slamming down on yourself for that, being able to recognize it and release it and move forward. And I just said that in 5 seconds, but that can be something that someone's process that takes time. And we do a lot of work guiding people through
Yeah.
that that process.
Yeah. The awareness is definitely key. And when you said release, I definitely resonated a lot with that. I think um, for me, I didn't have, I guess, an expectation going into the new year other than um, not bringing some stuff with me. So more of a releasing process for me. Just in everything 2025 was for me, not entirely positive, but I'm like it actually kind of motivated me to get some things done because I'm like I don't want to deal with this in the next year. So actually just kind of getting things done and then releasing it, just letting it go. And that it took off a lot of weight energetically off of me. Um, and that's something too, like if you're carrying all of these goals and um life keeps happening and you're in this survival mode, that energy is just kind of piling up as well. Um, so yeah, especially if you're trying to get internal balance with your gut, if you start recognizing like, hey, I think I need to start eating better, there's an energy piece to it as well. So I mean, just so many things to think about, honestly. Um, but yeah, for me, it was about release and lightening up my energetic load.
I think what we all do when we work with people is that we're creating capacity for them. And then when they have that capacity, they're able to see things more clearer. Um, if somebody is, maybe their labs are a little bit off and they can need some health support, or they're carrying too much energetically, or they're not having good habits, or they're not feeling safe, all of that starts to pull away from that capacity. And then they're trying to do the everyday things, wondering, like, why does it feel so hard? I had a client say, like, I just want to drop my kid off to school, but I feel so nervous. Like, how, why does this simple thing feel hard? And I said, well, that you have all these things that, she had all these things she's holding up, like trays, and then she's trying to add like one more thing. And she's like, it's so small. I was like, what about the 50 other things that she's holding? And so I think that's important to remember is that instead of piling on more, it's looking at how can you create more capacity so that your body isn't being thrown into threat, because once it's thrown into threat, there's a part of the back brain called the amygdala, and it's like, let me show you every bad thing that could happen because I'm here to protect you from every worrisome thing. And but when we have capacity, our frontal lobe can come on and have more realistic thinking and start to help you go in the direction that you want. And so being able to support yourself in one of these ways helps you to like bring that threat response down and have so much more capacity.
I like my frontal lobe.
It's a good friend to have.
I'm trying to get closer to my frontal lobe.
Well, All the parts of our brain are helpful. It just depends what assignment we've given them. So it's like the reticular activating system. It's kind of like the part of our brain that we send on a scavenger hunt. And so if we're in fear, it'll be like, I can totally find every scary thing. Let me point them out all day long. But if you're like, oh, I'm in gratitude, like, I am so grateful, it'll start to like point out things that you can be grateful for. It's like when you buy a red car and you're like, so many people have red cars. Oh my gosh. So you just want to make sure, what is your reticular activating system searching for? And is it helping you or is it making you really overwhelmed? Send in on
Yeah.
a gratitude quest or a peace quest.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm so glad
absolutely.
you just looped that in, Wendy, because I think so many people don't realize that they might have accidentally built their entire life around fear, or they are now living in a bubble. And as long as they're in that bubble that could burst and is getting smaller at any moment, they're safe, quote unquote. But so many things, they just keep adding to the list of things that can now pop that bubble. Um, oh, that's a whole another topic, but fear is it's so at the root of what we support people in. And even if you have tried a bunch of different modalities in your healing and you could accidentally, and depending on who you're working with, I've had this experience before where you start like accumulating all of these, I mean, anything from like a syndrome to a condition to a disease, but we even have, there's so many concepts in psychology or in the gut, even like SIBO, right? And you, all of a sudden, again, coming back to that meaning making, but I just think about the fear or the identity tied with learning these things about yourself. Because I think, and this is funny because this was in our workshop last night, Wendy, but how important is it to learn about the roots of our anxiety? Are we in a place where we can handle that capacity? I feel like I'm pulling in like it's just all so interlooped. But I think being able to recognize where someone is at, where their fear level is, when do you keep saying the word threat? And that really resonates with me because it's so hard to see ourselves when we are inside. And that analogy that one of our coaches gave us, I think a lot of us here will know, is being inside the bottle, and you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. You cannot read the outside. And that is what we're able to do, not just hold that capacity but also maybe you're picking up or told you have these things. And I don't always love that if there's not also this identity awareness and shaping and the ability to see ourselves, but not turn that into judgment or just being aware that it is a judgment. So I know I just went across a whole lot of different topics, but when you just said that, Wendy, my brain just went colorful with this is such a heart of how we really support people. There's so much rooted in fear we don't even realize.
Absolutely. Any closing words on our topic today? So we're getting close to towards our Q&A time, or if anybody of our live participants has any comments on this. So we'll just wrap up a little bit on perceived expectations in the new year. Any final comments?
I think we're good to move on.
I
Yeah.
have something quick. I think one of the misconceptions that people are often told is like, oh, this is how I healed, so this is how you're going to heal. And that's something that the three of us are very passionate about, finding that unique place, meeting that person where they're at, and then walking them on their path. None of us go, this is what worked for me. Here's the exact system I use, and this is how you're going to heal because we're all unique. We all have unique microbiomes, we all have unique nervous systems, and we all do that in unique ways. Like, Morgan and Jenna both use like labs and really get in there, like the biology type level. We'll all look at the nervous system from different perspectives. And so I think it's so important to do with yourself too, is that you can follow what someone's done. And I think probably the three of us have all followed. Someone's like, here's the pattern. And we're like going along being like, I mean, I feel a little bit better, but I feel slightly lost. And so I think it's important to find support that works for you in your unique situation, your unique life experience, and your unique nervous system.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, something to say about that is, you don't really know until you try everything because we are so unique and we are all different. You don't really know what's going to work for you unless you try it and give it a good trial run. If it doesn't work, that's okay. It's it doesn't mean you failed or anything. So just to remember too, like if you try some one thing and it doesn't work, it's okay. Maybe it just doesn't resonate with your DNA. That's okay. And how do you can't know that it doesn't work with your DNA unless you try. So, just trying to, I guess the word that's coming to mind right now is persistence. Just if one thing doesn't work, just say it's okay, take it as, again, information, but it's okay to move on to something else.
Yeah. Jenna, okay, you just nailed that second piece there. I was going to say another so important thing that I see all the time is exactly what you said of let's say breath work because I am a big believer in breath work and I wasn't. Andy, thank you for being on. Um, there are so many different types of breath work. And so even giving something its due diligence, it's almost like when we had teachers as kids, and like I had an amazing government teacher. And I would have had zero interest. Like I love science, I love writing and poetry and all that kind of stuff. I never in a million years would have had interest in government. But I had such a passionate teacher that it made all the world, and I love that class. And that's the same with some of these modalities that we might be trying, where you really connect energetically with a coach or a practitioner, and it is a game changer, even if it's in IFS or breath work or gut healing, because oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many people now and maybe that's just my world and my reticular activating system, but I feel like there's so many different ways to do detoxes that really connecting with the person guiding you through is equally as important as resonating with the protocol, and the vision for you and your body.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This has been fun. Does any of our live viewers have any comments or questions or want to weigh in on this topic of perceived expectations in the new year? We appreciate your live attendance. That's pretty cool.
You can come off mute or you can text a question, put a question in the chat if
Yeah, you don't have to come on camera if you don't want.
Oh, and you can also come, there we go. I just wanted to share that one more time. You girls can also, anybody live, anybody watching the recording, you are welcome. And I think I speak for all of us saying that if it's a question, you can, so these are, you can scan these and they will bring you to our Facebook communities. But we're also all on Instagram. So you can reach out, ask any questions through Facebook, Instagram, all the things.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, this has been great, girls. I think we'll plan for to do these this again next month. We'll keep you all posted for our next one, what the topic's gonna be. And I had fun with this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoy every conversation that we all have. I'm so grateful for you girls.
that's the fun thing is that we get to talk regularly. And so it's so fun to bring other people in because we have like such amazing little morsels that even between the three of us go, oh my gosh, that's so important or that's
Mhm.
so helpful. So it's nice to let other people come in and listen to all the nuggets of wisdom and sharing our experiences that help us, feel
Yeah.
better and we walk away feeling really nourished. So we want to share that with you all.
All right, ladies, until